a medical device manager and a personal trainer / assistant manager at an F45 gym. And what these two have decided to do is run majority of the Bibbulmun track in WA. It basically runs for 350 plus kilometers and ends in Albany, if some of you guys know where that is. But we, of course, are going to go more into detail about that journey. Aaron Crook and Reggie Howard, welcome on the show.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks very much. Good to be here.
Pleasure to be back.
I know. Great to have you back. Yeah, we had so many good comments on the first one, and it kind of looks like this might be a tradition every time you do a crazy race. Lice is probably the one that hates us the most.
I don't know, man. Like the things that I'll do to get on your podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think anyone have done such a crazy thing to get back. But guys, I got to start first with who asked who to do this race.
I think Reggie probably thinks that it was me because it is normally me, to be fair. But the way that I remember it is I got a text message from Reggie and he said something hasn't quite worked out in my professional life. I need to do something really hard.
He was looking for a challenge.
And I was like, well, I'm always up for something hard. But then it was like, but if it's going to be worth my time, then it's got to be really bloody hard. So that automatically ruled out like any of the, 100K races or whatever. But then I also wanted to be wrecked, and I haven't yet learnt a new skill. So running is still pretty much the one guaranteed thing that I know will destroy me. So again, I went to Google, my good friend Google, and I was like, well, we want to do this soon. So it's not going to be possible to like head overseas for some epic adventure. So I was like, hardest thing in Australia, like the hardest, longest race, like worst terrain, whatever. And like it kept coming back to this race that was called the Delirious West. And like, to be fair, that pretty much had me in the name because Delirious I was like, this sounds like my kind of thing.
And it's from WA, where you're from.
And it's from WA, and it's on the Bibbulmun track, which actually is a track that's 1,000 kilometers long. It goes from Perth to Albany. Wow. So we did like a minuscule part. No, we did like a good chunk of it. But I remember at high school, I'd gone to the Bibbulmun track, and we probably did like a 10, 15K segment or something. I remember thinking it was the hardest thing ever. I was like, why are we doing this? This is horrible. So I was excited to do that. But then, so I sent Reggie back a message, said, this thing is like,
I've got it.
I've got it. I've got it. It's like 350 to 380 kilometers long. Is this something up your alley? And, the one thing that I can tell you about Reggie is he will never say no to anything that's hard. I got to ask Reggie to circumnavigate, the planet by foot, and he'd say yes probably straight away. So we pretty much found it and then signed up within probably an hour or so.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it?
So Reggie, I have to ask you because Aaron's been on before here, and he famously ran the Marathon du Sable through the Sahara Desert. Reggie, what's your previous experience with running?
That's a bit of a jet question, really, isn't it? So I've run 2 with Aaron. So can you call them long distances? So we did
2 runs,
2 longer runs. Yeah, we've done quite a few around the lagoon and stuff. But we did a longer one. The Narrabeen Lagoon. I don't know if you talked about it on the previous one.
The all-nighter. Yeah, leading up to MDS, we did a. Reggie, unfortunately, was a trainer at a session that I was doing. And as a lead up to MDS, I did the Narrabeen All-Nighter, which is like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And you just do like this super boring 5K stretch of the Narrabeen Lake, and you try and do as many laps as you can in the 12 hours.
Is it a loop around the lake?
No,
not even that.
No, it's a small segment.
It's like the little forest section. It's like 2.2 Ks there, and then you turn around and then you just go.
You see the same 20 trees there and back. Yeah.
So I told him about that at this session, and unfortunately that got him involved straight away. So yeah, that started it. We did like 90 Ks.
That's 90 plus a little.
Okay.
And then we did Oxfam in October,
that
which was
August,
108, or August. That was 108 kilometers. So a little bit
Did you
more.
run the Oxfam, or was that more walking?
It is a walking thing.
50-50, yeah.
But we pretty much ran it. We tried to run it, but it's a team of 4, so there was limitations based on what you could do. But I think we did that like third overall third fastest team. So we turned it into a race. It wasn't a race. We turned it into a race.
Okay, so you had a little bit of experience. Are you a fan of running at all, Reggie?
Yeah, I don't mind running.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a fair bit when I was younger. I don't really have like a running body, but yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite like naturally gifted towards running. So it's one of the things I can just sort of pick up after a few months and feel okay with it.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So basically you started by asking Aaron to do something
it could have been anything, yeah.
And then Aaron came back with this race. What were your first thought when you had a look at it?
It's absolutely crazy.
350 plus Ks, right?
Yeah, first, let's do it.
Well, it actually started because it's called a 200 miler. So we did the math on what
200 miles.
How many kilometers that was.
320.
Yeah, so we were like 320. That's pretty difficult. But then as time went on, it started blowing out. So we got our mindset on 320. We were like, okay, we might have this. We might be able to do 320. And then all of a sudden, like we read something and it was like, it's actually like 340. And we're like, oh, 340. Oh, can't do 340. And then it was 350. And then I downloaded
so we went to 380.
Yeah, I downloaded the GPX map so I could put it on my watch, and it was 384. And I was like, Reggie, this is getting out of hand. Every week there's like another 10 Ks. I'm like, how far is this going to go? But yeah, so
what was the final distance then?
We don't really know.
364, did he say?
Yeah, but it was somewhere between 360 and 380. Because the thing is that it was the second year they ran the race, and the first year they ran it, about a K into the course, a bunch of people turned left when they shouldn't have. So they basically ran like an extra like 14 kilometers or something before the race even started. Yeah. So as tradition now, before you even start Delirious West, they send you in the wrong direction. So you have to go run a couple of Ks before you actually even get to start the race. So the race director, who's a great guy, but the race director, we're all getting ready to start, like, everyone, we're looking at each other going, do we have this? We don't know. And then the race director's like, hey guys, and it's tradition, we're going to go in the wrong direction for a while. And
he
said to me after the race, I saw your face and you just went,
this is dumb.
Sounds
like a good luck thing, maybe. Maybe if you get your wrong direction out in the beginning, then you're not going to.
The funny thing was someone stacked it straight away. So one of the people we're following was stacked it like straight out. I was like, imagine if they hurt himself now and this like extra that doesn't even count is cover the Ks.
So
do you have to run it as a pair, same as the Transalpine run in Europe?
No.
Okay, so it's an individual thing.
We chose to do
Yeah. So this is this race. All are run they all have support teams and people at every aid station. The majority, I should say, have a support team. So like you come in dead at the aid station and you've got a team that like wraps you up, gives you food and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't have any of that obviously, but we had each other. So we figured that we're not runners, so at least we'll have each other's back and we can try and do it together and go as fast as we can. But inevitably, we're never going to win it. There's like professional ultra runners here, where I wouldn't even call us runners. I would call us like just people trying to do something hard. So at least we had each other's back.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about where it's starting. What is your preparation kind of before you hit the start line? And how many people sign up for something like this? Because I think I saw a photo and it didn't look like that many.
No, so we did the Oxfam in August, and then maybe, I don't know, I did
about a third of the distance, really.
30 runs maybe between that time and starting it. I did a few longer runs down in Tassie over Christmas, tried to get some sand running in because we heard there was going to be a fair bit of sand, which I'm not used to at all. Obviously, Aaron's had a fair bit of experience on the sand.
Yeah.
So I tried to do some longer ones down there with my with a few friends, but no, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Just trying to do some like 20K runs, but just fast, intense.
Yeah.
Not too much. Didn't want to get injured.
And just build up some leg endurance, I guess.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we probably didn't do ourselves any favors because we we signed up for at the end of last year, and I like to dedicate the whole of December as like the festive month. So like I drink way too much over that period of time, and like I wasn't willing to give that up. So it really didn't start for me until January, which gave us kind of. It gave us a month to train and then a month to taper.
Tapering is important.
It's like, shouldn't we be like cutting it down now?
So I'd pretty much like after MDS, like I pretty much stopped running, and then ran a couple of times leading into Oxfam, and then stopped running again. And then when we decided to do this, I did some kind of like. I was still fit, like from going to the gym a lot, but not running fit. So I did some like back-to-back like half marathon distances, and then had a very uneasy sort of tapering month where we knew we were like very, very underprepared, but doing our best to get to the start line without any of those running injuries that, that you would get from doing more kilometers. So.
And there was, I think, 100 people that could sign up. They were taking on board. I think there was about 60 to 70 by the time we actually started. There's a lot of people pulling out over on the Facebook page
every
like a few months leading up to it. Yeah.
I guess you want to be well prepared when you rock up to that start line.
Yeah. Well, there was when the cutoff was 100, and when we signed up, they were up to 97. Okay. And then as the weeks went on, every week there was someone else pulling out, and then at the start line, I think there was 69 or something that started the race.
It must have been at 50% that didn't finish.
I think it was a bit over.
Finish,
yeah.
And what's the registration fee for this race?
It's about $1,300.
Yeah.
$1,300 per person.
Which sounds like a lot, but
it's a safety thing, I guess.
And what would go into putting together a race over that distance, the amount of aid stations and people that you need, it's actually a miracle it was so cheap, because the logistics would have just been an absolute nightmare. I don't even know how these guys could possibly make money from it. But
I think an Ironman is like $1,500. So so it's pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you starting out with? I guess it's a backpack on there, and as you start, there's a cutoff, right, for the whole thing. Are you trying to plan for the what pace to hold already from the get-go, or what does that look like?
Well, I think if you have a support team, you basically just load up a trailer with everything that you need, and then use what you want. But we didn't have that, so we could put a drop bag at every aid station. So there was about 22 aid stations, I believe. So we went about, it was great for me because obviously MDS, I had to carry everything, and there was so much, you had to be so picky about everything that you wanted. Whereas this was basically just loading up a bunch of bags.
And you can take what you wanted and leave what you didn't want, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we just packaged up all these bags, and then every time we got to an aid station, that our bags would be waiting there for us. So we could take whatever we want. We didn't end up using a great deal of what we took, but
so did you have a backpack at all during that?
Yeah, because you still had to carry your water and any food that you need between the aid stations, and the aid stations could be as long as 27 kilometers. So about three liters of water would generally be running with, and just a couple of Snickers bars.
Snickers bars, really?
No, Reggie was the healthy ultra runner, and I was the absolute junk ultra runner. What do you mean?
I was for like 1 day. I was.
And he's sucking down baby food.
And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Into the Cokes. Yeah. And then I felt awful because I don't really have any sugar at home.
Yeah, you're not
used
to
a good day, but then my body just kind of adapted, and I was just running off sugar too.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
it's actually something I learned quite recently, not because I've done it, but someone told me. It's like you have to train your stomach for these type of things. Because you're gonna, like someone like you, Reggie, you eat fairly healthy on a daily basis, but for this kind of race, you need sugar a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
explain to me a little bit, what was the difference in the packs in the beginning, like Snicker bars and baby food?
Mate, we were chalk and cheese. My preparation was going into Coles and seeing that all the candy bars were $1 and just throwing them all in and just being like, oh man, I would love a crunchy right now. I'm sure it'll be the same on the track. Reggie had all the nuts and the good stuff.
Protein balls, coconut water, and then baby food. So pretty much just like a mix of those, yeah.
And so since you changed your outlook on that during the race, Reggie, what happened? Did you just start stealing from Crooksy or from Aaron?
No, because they had the aid stations, which are pretty good. They're really well supplied, actually. So we relied on those a lot. I got to the point where I wasn't even looking at the bags anymore.
Oh, you could buy stuff there.
Oh no, they
It was
have
included.
it.
It was all included in the registration. Yeah. And they
Give us
all,
examples of what you would eat from the aid station.
we had a lot of Coke.
Coca-Cola.
You would. The thing though is that there is pure angels in WA running. Like these volunteers would man these aid stations like 24 hours a day, and you would come in like this shivering wreck of a human, and they had a menu of food that you could
Yeah,
you
it's
could
really
get.
good.
So they would cook you things. You know,
That's amazing,
like so we didn't really eat any of the food that we brought ourselves. Like even the idea of, I thought it was going to be great, but chocolate bars to me were like the last thing that I wanted to eat when I was actually there. But since I've come back, I got all those back. So I've been trying to put on weight. So like every couple of minutes, I'm at the fridge pulling out another picnic. Just terrific. But yeah, the aid stations it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Wow, so you just pay with your card, order what you want, pay with your card.
No, it's all free.
It's all included.
So
in the
$1,300 well spent.
100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, they give you a hug if you wanted, which was by far the best thing. So
Yeah, they really helped.
it was good.
Okay, roughly give us an overview of how long this endeavor takes. And I think there's a cutoff, right? You have to hold a certain speed.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, 104 hours is what the cutoff was, which is if you're healthy and you're running like for the majority of it, like running when you can all the time, then you should do it comfortably. But what we didn't understand is that the expectation is that you don't sleep. So coming from a stage race like MDS, a guy who had done it last year sent us his race plan, which was great. We were like, we'll just do something similar to him. And so like we sat down and we were like, okay, we'll run 110 kilometers and then we'll have a nice sleep and we'll get up and we'll run another 110. We'll have another nice sleep. It's going to be terrific. And then we got to the place where we had allocated a sleep, and the guys were like, so you guys going to get going? And we're like, oh, no, we're going to have a sleep. And he's like, oh, are you? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, oh, there's no one else sleeping. And we're like, oh.
Not really anywhere for you to sleep.
And we're like, is there somewhere where we can sleep? And he's like, well, you could have a sleep in the back of my ute if you wanted. And we were like, oh, okay. So we attempted a sleep and we basically just rolled around in pain for 3 hours and then got back up and started running. But the thing about this race is that perfectly accepted in the ultra running world to not sleep for a very long time. So
100 hours, that's 4 days plus.
Yeah.
We slept 6 hours the whole time, and that was made up of power 45-minute naps in a seat, like just zonked out. And then like I tell you, the worst feeling in the world is when you wake up for one of those sleeps and you realize you've still got 200 kilometers to go and you're already cramping in every muscle of your body. It's like the biggest shock to the system ever. You just go, it's like a nightmare, and you're actually there. So that happened a couple of times. But yeah, the one guy we were running with on the first day, he said, oh no, I never even attempt to have a nap before 36 hours. So I didn't actually think that was physically possible for a human until this race. But yeah, that's
how did you manage, Reggie, with little to no sleep? Because I'm gonna guess you generally sleep quite well.
Yeah, I do, but I was okay, I think, with the energy and like having the lack of sleep. I think I actually slept a bit less towards the end because I was like kind of hobbling off. I was doing a fair bit of limping towards the end. So Aaron kind of left Aaron a couple of times just to sleeping a little bit extra, and I just sort of get a start because I knew he's going to catch me up anywhere and be waiting for me. But no, energy-wise wasn't too bad. It got a little bit delirious a couple of times, and I'm seeing things moving in the sky. Aaron's seeing some little green man the whole time, like popping up and waving at him. Is that what it was? Little green man?
I'm not sure he was green, but he was very welcoming. He was nice. I was disappointed when I stopped seeing it.
A little hobbit.
Yeah.
So it's aptly named, obviously.
Yeah,
the Delirious
exactly.
West race. Okay, so we got to touch on this topic, Reggie, because you're already alerted to it. You came in here today on crutches and you got a bit of a moon boot on your right leg. Mm-hmm. What happened there?
So we've both been through a lot of pain. Mine started probably on the second day. I wasn't mega prepared for this race. I got tight shoes, and I think I should have gone maybe a size up. There was a lot of swelling happening, and they were just so tight, my shoes, from that second day. So I started getting blisters all around my feet, really bad blisters. And then I started running weird, and I got shin splints. And then it's probably, I think it was the Friday night, the third day, when I started getting like a golf ball sort of feeling in the back of my calf. And I was like, this isn't normal. This is feeling really bad. And this was obviously what's
so like a
now.
hard golf ball.
Yeah. Like it was
muscle.
like, yeah.
I
like
told him it was normal. Stop complaining and keep running.
Like it was
Been through that before.
Like it was a real bad knot. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, a few things happening on my backpack, because I hadn't worn that before. That was rubbing on my back away. And
you got chafing?
Chafe was horrendous, yeah. Ended up with a snake bandage all around in my undercarriage, just trying to hold everything together. And it was a nightmare. It was awful, absolutely awful.
Wow.
But yeah, so I tore probably around that time. Now I know that I've tore my soleus from my gastrocnemius. So they've come completely apart. They're attached at the top, but they've come completely apart at the bottom.
Explain what that is. Is that the part of the calf muscle?
The two big calf muscles. Yeah, you've got the soleus underneath and the gastrocnemius on top. And so it's over the top, and they join all the way down. So yeah, they're attached at the top, but they've just spread over that last couple of days just apart. As I'm just limping forward. I had no idea, obviously, I'd done that. But yeah, we just went through the pain and got it done.
You were still okay to run on that leg? For
don't know if
hundreds of Ks.
Okay is the right word, but yeah,
sorry,
we got it done.
Well,
Yeah.
you did manage to push through it.
Yeah.
On the way over here, he told me that there was a time where he was actually crying as he was running.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, that happened.
So we had Friday night was probably the worst. I was just limping after Aaron, and I felt so bad because he was freezing as well. We were still a good few hours away from this aid station, but we needed to get there in order just to get a little bit of sleep in and to know we were on time and on target. And obviously he kept coming ahead of me, and then he came back, and I'm just in so much pain and so tired. And he said maybe we should just call the medic and like see what they think. But I thought about it a little bit, and I did contemplate quitting at that point. And I thought, but if we call the medic and they see something is really wrong, they're going to pull me out of this. So I said, nah. He went ahead again a little bit because he's trying to figure out the direction, so I didn't go at least the wrong way and have to do extra distance. So while he was away on that point in time, I just sort of stood there, I just looked at the sky, and I just thought about like all the reasons to why I joined up to this, for like a few other reasons, and just the fact that we raised a fair bit of money for charity, and it's really important to me that I just got it done. So something happened in my mind at that point, and I just thought, I'm going to do this, like just everything towards finishing now. Like I'm not going to think about the pain anymore. And I actually don't know where it came from, but I managed to start running again. Got a bit of adrenaline, and yeah, as I said, I was crying like as I was running, but I don't know if that was the pain or just like because I was proud of myself that I was just knew now that I was going to get it done. I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah.
We made this call when we got to this aid station, which was one aid station away from where we had said we were going to end it, like, and try and have a nap. We got to this aid station, and Reggie was like, hey, like I need to have like an hour nap here, and then after that nap I'll make a call on whether we're going to keep going or not. But this aid station is at the bottom of this big mountain, and the mountain is made up of like rocks, like small rocks that are constantly shifting. So, possibly the worst terrain you could ever try and to be like climbing in the middle of the night with a whole bunch of injuries. And so the alarm went off. I woke him up, and he got out of bed. And I'm like, all right, mate, so what are we doing here? Are we going to go? And he's like, yeah, we're going to go. I was like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to switch the pain off. I'm going to switch the pain off. And I was like, switch the pain off, Reggie. Switch the pain off. And we just started charging up this mountain, and we're both going, I'm like, switch the pain off.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it's possible,
but it was good.
We did a really fast section of track. We took a few people in that section.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people that had left like when we got there, and we overtook them by the end, heading into the aid station where we had originally decided that we were going to stop. So that was the mantra pretty much to the end. So like it all wears off. The tears are gone, the adrenaline's gone. Like we obviously didn't stop at the next aid station because we had stopped, so we push on, and then it's like, oh my god, I'm in so much pain. I'm like, switch the pain off. Switch the pain off.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I love this topic because we do talk about this a bit, especially around fitness and health, and because you overcame quite a big obstacle with your calf muscle basically exploded, but you had a purpose, right, behind why you were doing it. Do you want to talk a little bit about why you guys decided to do it and what you did for charity?
Yeah. So a lot of it for me comes back to just every day. I've been obsessed with. Have you heard of David Goggins?
Of course,
David
yeah.
Goggins
He's probably a little bit crazier than even you two.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think he is. And Ross Edgley and the guys out there doing that kind of stuff, and just like working constantly, just to sort of callous your mind and improve on how far you can push yourself, how far you can go without giving in. Because basically, I'm trying to get into the Air Force. That's a massive goal of mine. So I've been trying to get in for the last couple of years now. And yeah, I got very, very close last year, made it to the top 1% of guys, but didn't quite make it. So I'm back on the ground again, and now it's just all about how much can I give and pick myself up again. So I'm kind of doing this at all these little challenges to try and just improve my sort of mental
to get into the Air Force.
Basically just keep pushing, and once I get in, it's going to be even harder. So that's a big part for me. But at the same time, we just wanted to figure why not raise a bit of money for charity. We did that with our last one as well, and anything we can make is just going to help other people. So that was a part of it. Yeah, a big part of it.
It's worked out. It's been quite good actually. You know, the combination of Oxfam and this one, I think it would have been $6,000-7,000 for charity, which is you know, that's awesome. It's a lot better than nothing. So it definitely adds another element to, you know, in some ways it's quite selfish that we're just trying to, you know, do these hard things for ourselves, and this is like, you know, really about the other side of it and being able to do a very worthwhile thing as well.
On that point, I've got to ask, what did Lai say when you signed up for this one?
Well, she was happier that it was in Australia.
Okay, that's a good start.
And I have family in Perth, so she knew that, you know, like if I was close to death, they'd be 4 hours away. So she felt better about this one, but then I was also able to talk to her on the phone at certain aid stations when we had reception, and there's a couple of conversations that I don't really remember having that were apparently pretty off the wall, way out there, and I think she was a little bit worried about how destroyed
your mental state, maybe.
Were
your kids there as well on the call?
No, not really. No,
okay.
No. It was, you know, they were just kind of voice calls. It just happened to be that when I got to call back, it was, you know, sort of later at night and they were all in bed. So, it was...
might have been a good thing since you can't remember some of them.
Yeah, Josie probably would have enjoyed it though. She probably would have just thought I was playing around a little bit. But yeah, I think she felt better about this one. But then subsequently, this one has taken a much greater toll on my body since I've been back. So I think that... you know, she's kind of, you know, she's not going to give me any sympathy, but I think that she's been a little bit more worried since I've been back.
Why do you think that is, that this one took a greater toll on you? Because I don't know if the MDS is harder or I mean, you're probably the person to ask.
I would say, I mean, you can never really compare races because it's so, you know, they're so different. But you know, MDS being a stage race is far more enjoyable. You know, you run, depending on how fast you are, maybe 5 to 10 hours a day, with the exception of the long day in a stage race, and you're guaranteed a night's sleep, and the race doesn't start until a certain time the following morning. So you have sleep. You know, at the end of this race, I had run 3 times longer than I ran at MDS. The heat was similar. It was like boiling hot. And it was a coastal track. So, you know, we had a section that was essentially 56 kilometers of sand dunes up and down. And so if you're going to talk about how hard one was compared to the other, hands down, Delirious West is getting close to maybe how hard you could have a run be. You know, MDS, like, I look back on it now, and it just seems like a great time, like just a terrific, fun experience. You know,
it's crazy to say.
I know that it was hard, but you know, this one is. I'm looking for that edge, and this one's closer, getting very close to where that edge is for me.
Do you know how much weight you lost on that race, or both of you? Aaron,
for this one, I lost 6 kilos in 98 hours that it took us, and I didn't really have 6 kilos to lose. So when I got home, I took my shirt off, and like I have like veins. Like I looked like some sort of a skinny bodybuilder. Like it was scary.
Christian Bale in The Machinist.
Yeah, I kind of scared myself. So, you know, it really, just I just lost so
Trained
much.
you a bit, yeah. Reggie, how about you?
About 4 kilos, I think.
4 kilos.
Yeah, I think I was 12% body fat before I left, and now I'm 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it's a fair difference.
Yeah, none of you really have too much body fat to lose, I'd say, from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I managed to eat a lot more at the aid stations. Like I felt quite comfortable, especially after the first day. Yeah, I could sort of just get in as much as my body would take, and I sort of felt okay with that. Aaron really struggled with eating. It just could have like maybe soups and stuff, but most of the time, couldn't handle too much heavy food.
Do you have any idea how many calories you would eat in a day, roughly, Reggie?
We're aiming for about 5,000 a day, I think.
Calories, yeah.
Yeah. How many? No, I have no idea.
Would you guess a bit less?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I lost a fair bit of weight, so it's now I was getting that much in, but.
And generally, what would you eat at the aid station? Like, what was a, I'm sure it wasn't a typical meal, but what would you?
Yeah,
anything you remember?
Quite often they'd make you a sandwich. There's always like fruits and crisps and stuff. You could just kind of snack on while you're waiting, and you fill up your water pack, lots of Coke, as I said. But then sometimes they'd make you like a toasty. Sometimes they'd have a little baked potatoes, which was cool. Some went all out, and they had like lamb stew and stuff, lamb stew and rice, and some really amazing ones.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that were flipping pancakes.
Yeah, there's pancakes. It's insane.
It's real good.
Yeah, I guess pancakes would be good. A bit of honey or jam and stuff on it. Get the sugar.
Yeah, it was all
right?
pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
like ideal for energy.
Okay, explain a little bit the. Can't believe I'm going to say this word again. Bibbulum track, flora and fauna there. Like, what does that scenery look like, and what kind of animals did you run into? I saw some snakes, of course, on the Instagram stories. What was it? Yeah, explain the scenery there through the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful land. It really is. Just the coastline there is it's untouched. No one around. I think you would love it. Amazing waves. Like I'm not a surfer, but like I was just in awe of.
Well, it starts just south of Margaret River, which is a famous surf break, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And there was a lot of animals, a lot of snakes, so a lot of tiger snakes. And when we signed up for the race, I think the thing that we were worried about most was getting bitten by a snake. But then in reality, as we were getting more and more sore, we stopped really worrying about that and possibly thinking that might be our way out. So there was a lot of it was running through like high grass and stuff, and we had already been seeing all these snakes everywhere. And tiger snakes, they'll kill you. So but we're just striding through, just being like looking out for a snake. And
did any participants get bitten?
No one did. No one did. But we saw 10 all up. We were counting. We saw 10, so there's probably they were everywhere. You could hear them on the sides of the trails and stuff. But
are they pretty mellow, the tiger snakes, or can they get aggressive and start chasing you?
No, they pretty much hear you and get out of the way. There was a couple at night time that didn't, and we kind of just jumped over them, or like went to the. What's that?
They were a different type. What they the two we saw?
They might have been duggites. I think duggites are the other type that they have there. I mean, I'm no snake expert, but I think it's tigers and duggites. Both poisonous, but they kind of just got out of the way and let us go about our business. And
super hot, most of it. Do you run through any canopy or anything like that? Is there any forest there or not really?
Yeah, like the first day, first day and a half was pretty much to the coast. So it was through some of the giant tingle trees, hundreds of years old, these trees, and they're massive and just sick. Amazingly beautiful. And then you kind of, we were dreaming of the coast. Like we were like, can't wait to get to the beach. And then as soon as we got to the beach and started hitting these sand dunes, we were like, oh, I wish we were back in the forest.
The forest was the best part, wasn't it? It just got worse and worse.
But like if you could take a second to separate yourself from how much pain you're in, you could really appreciate how beautiful the landscape was.
Amazing scenery, I'm sure. I'd love to go over to WA.
That's very beautiful.
What about altitude up and downs? Is it a pretty? I think the Bibbulum. Oh, okay, whatever. Skipping that word again. The track. It's quite a famous track, right? And it's not too steep or anything like that, or was it? I mean,
no.
Not too much. Not like when you did the MDS, right? You kind of went up sand dunes, down sand dunes. It's pretty flat.
Yeah, that mountain that I think there was two high sort of elevation points. The mountain that I was telling you about earlier, that was one, and then there was one other one, but yeah, looking back on it, I wouldn't say that it was overly challenging in terms of climbing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just lots of little hills, and in MDS there was there was obviously lots of sand and deep sand, but you'd go over something, then you might have a flat for a couple of kilometers, and then over something else. Whereas this was it was like whoever built the track was just taking the piss. Like it was literally you'd go up one, and then you just go up another one, up and down, up and down, up and down.
And it always felt like you're in a maze, like you were getting close. You could see the next part, but it was always like you were coming back on yourself, and then you'd go forward again a little bit, and it was like
just
looping,
always,
just looped back and forward, and that would be an up and down as you looped,
And those kilometers are just taking so long because you're just going nowhere,
Yeah. So explain to me, maybe you, Reggie, explain to me the logistics of orienteering throughout the race. Do you guys have a map and know where to go, or is it marks there? How do you know
I had the hard copies of the maps in my backpack, but we had said to each other at the start that if it comes to that, we're in serious trouble. So we didn't, thank God we didn't actually use those at all.
Yeah.
Aaron had the GPS downloaded on his watch, which worked for about first 3 hours.
Look, it wasn't reliable, but it came in and out. There was a couple of times it was
I think
good.
it was relying on the reception a little bit as well. So
which is probably none out there.
Not ideal, yeah. So we did have that on and off. There's a few times we almost got lost, but luckily we saw someone else, and there's quite a few people that
other racers.
There's quite a few people that had done it last year and could remember the route. We didn't actually get probably lost at all, which we were very shocked about.
Yeah, that's
we
amazing.
Thought for sure we were going to.
Yeah, because we're both shocking sense of direction.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I find it crazy even that you partly relied on other participants that vaguely remembered running it last year. That seems like there's a lot of things that can go wrong in that equation.
Yeah, that's about all we had.
Yeah. And at nighttime, was it, because you said you were running pretty much non-stop, right, throughout this. It must have been so difficult to...
It was better, almost better, because of the little gold markers with the head torch. They've really shone up. You can see them from a lot further away, so you kind of feel like, I'm on the right path here.
Yeah. Okay, so explain the gold markers. So when you along the whole track,
the whole Bibulum track, has these little gold. They look like little snake markers.
Yeah.
Maybe like every 500 meters or something.
Okay. Wow. And is it generally kind of just one track that you follow? It's not like there's lots of intersections, like one left, one right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some points like that, but I mean, it's pretty amazing. It's such a long track. They've done a great job to mark it. When we did Oxfam, we got lost like every hour. So
it was really expensive.
It was a lot better than that.
Okay, so you were used to that already. Talk to me a little bit about the relationship between you two, how that would develop through the 100+ hours that it takes. Was it always smooth sailing, or did you have to rely on each other a little bit, or how did that go? Are you talking with each other during the race? What's it like?
Yeah, I'd say it's always smooth sailing. We're both very supportive of each other. Aaron needed to be more supportive of me because I was just so slow for a lot of it, like the whole second half. But yeah, we talked on and off. There was a lot of silence as well. And then Aaron's brought his phone out on maybe the last 2 days or a day and a half. He started playing the tunes.
Downloaded Spotify list.
For the Spotify playlist, which is great actually.
And you just played it on your speaker so you both could hear it?
Yeah. I just ran.
Well, Reggie couldn't hear it because I was singing at the top of my lungs. So.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I got to appreciate a bit of that.
Running and singing sounds difficult though.
Oh no, it's fine. It's
you get out of breath pretty quickly.
Mate, it's fine when you're running as slow as we were.
You should have seen our pace.
Were you ever individually listening to music?
No.
So
we
not really any headphones.
I thought that was a bit of a fashion faux pas to be bringing along headphones while Reggie was behind me. I thought that was a bit mean.
Yeah, so we didn't plan on using it at all. It was actually the last couple of days we realised we weren't going to make it on the Saturday as we had planned to. So we we enjoyed that Saturday afternoon a little bit. We were going along the coast and it's very beautiful there. So we we sat down a couple of times on a few benches we found, listened to some music, and we just kind of appreciated the view and just thought, we should do this while we're here, because we've just been staring at the ground for the last couple of days, just one foot in front of the other kind of thing. But yeah, we had a little bit of a laugh of it and enjoyed it a little bit. So
give me an example of a song or two that you played.
I kind of oscillated a little bit. Reggie was a bit bemused actually because the playlist was a little bit all over the shop. We went from some like Billie Eilish. What else? There was Watch the Throne has come back into my rotation. I really love that album, the Jay-Z and Kanye West one, so I fired up that a little bit. And then so just between sort of some Sia ballads and some hardcore hip hop, that was on the agenda. So
so some beats with the hip hop and then some quite mellow stuff with
Yeah. I didn't mind. You know, a great ballad is a good one for out in the Bibbleman tracks. You just, you know, sing as loud as you possibly can, and the only person that has to have any issue with it is Reggie. So that was fine.
Wow. Okay, so I know you weren't racing because you weren't trying to run it fast. The main goal is to finish it, right? But as you're coming back in towards Albany, what's the feeling like? You know, what's the state of the morale at that point? Like, it must be amazing because I know you had a post that said 0K's done, 350 plus to go.
Yeah.
When you're towards the end of it, how does that feel?
Yeah, it felt pretty good getting close. It just felt like it wasn't coming. We knew we were within like 10Ks, but it just, again, it kept like getting harder and harder. And it's taking forever to find these, because they said when we get to the last couple of Ks, we're going to see some flat road. But we were like, we must be within a couple of Ks, and we're still on the floor. We're still going up and down in these dirt tracks. And then we saw Aaron's dad probably a K a bit out.
Yeah.
So Aaron's dad, he walked out to kind of meet us, and he actually ran the last hole, which was really cool. Yeah, it's really nice.
It was a big anticlimax though, because it was there was like so much pent up emotion that I saw him, and I was like overwhelmed with emotion, and I was like started blubbering and like had like tears coming down my eye. But he's just walking up like it's just a great time. I'm like, who's supposed to be at the finish line?
And you're not finished yet.
It's still like a kilometer. And when you're doing a race that long, you know, really close to the end is still 10Ks away. And 10Ks is still a really long way. So, you know, we felt like we were really close to the end. Like the last day we had to run like 30Ks, and we were like, it's within like touching distance. But 30Ks was like 10Ks on soft sand beach before we go like on this like one person like single trail thing for another 10Ks. And then, you know, the last 10 was supposed to be a bit easier, but it was still, you know, such a long distance. Even though we were so close, but it was, I had to look back on my Garmin data when I had finished the race, and going through the finish line, like my heart rate went up to like 235 beats or something like that, which for me is like, you know, it wouldn't have
very high.
Very high. And I think it's incredible that like, you know, we were jogging through. It's not like we were sprinting, but it's incredible that like, you know, your heart does those things. I don't know. It was such a great moment to finish.
What was your heart rate like kind of on average throughout the race? And then, like you said, it spiked like crazy. Right?
Yeah, it was doing weird things actually. You know, like I had a couple of up around the 240s, like on the first day. And then in the sand dunes, you know, on the sand dunes, we could only really run on the downhills and some of the flats because there was so much climbing. So it was really slow going, but I still had some really high heart rates. So, you know, I guess it goes to show when the body's like really depleted and struggling, how much extra work the heart has to do. But yeah, it was very erratic. It was not like I would expect to see, you know, during a run or anything like that. So it made for interesting viewing.
Yeah, I saw you posted that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Reggie, did you wear any kind of bio trackers, anything like that?
No.
Did you choose not to, or do you generally?
Just don't usually. Yeah, just go by breathing and feeling, and tried to do kind of Wim Hof breathing quite a lot actually, just trying to get oxygen in. Just figured it would help just to keep my heart rate a little bit lower.
Yeah. And explain what, like, were you counting the seconds in, out, holding stuff with the Wim Hof, or explain
sometimes, just as something to do to make the time go a little bit quicker. So just
what ratios would you do? Oh, so fast in and out.
Big
no
in
holding,
and little out, just trying to sort of resupply some oxygen from my body. I was doing that on and off every few hours.
Do you do that during training sometimes as well. I've noticed quite a few people actually do that.
Cold showers daily, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Did you find that it helped in your run, or was it just more something?
Yeah, definitely does. Yep, definitely does.
Awesome.
Definitely feel a little bit better. Get a bit more energy.
Okay, before we go into crossing the finish line, was there anything in particular that happened during the race that you can tell me about? Any specific stories?
Well, the being that this race was called Delirious West, the one thing that we knew about it before we signed up was that my sister knew a lady who had attempted it in the first year, and she had literally gotten to actually close to where we had to climb that mountain where we were considering Reggie pulling out, and she absolutely lost her mind. So she had to go to hospital and was in hospital for over a week because we spoke to her husband actually at that aid station, and he was saying that she couldn't actually form a sentence or talk about herself at all for a week in hospital. They didn't know if she had just clicked over, so this was something that was like a very real thing throughout the race, especially considering on night one we were both pretty much hallucinating, but leading into the last night we had we were coming down into the aid station where we had planned to have like an hour or two sleep before we head off again. And there was a guy who was on the trail and he had his phone out and he was kind of like looking around like, someone who was looking for signal. And we were like, "Are you right, mate? Like, is everything okay?" And he was like, "I don't know what's on either side of this trail." And I'm like, "It's just a trail. There's nothing there. It's fine." And he was like, I just don't know. And I was like, okay, well, he's obviously like not with it. So just follow us. And we're close to the aid station, so you'll be there soon. And then like 5 minutes later, we look back and he's not there anymore. So we figured instead of like going back to get him, we'll get to the aid station, tell them about it, and then they can send someone up because, we wanted to get sleeping like ASAP so that we could get out of there. And so we didn't see him again until the next day. And he was actually leaving the last checkpoint a little bit ahead of us. So we were like, he had gotten in after us and then he had left before us. So we just assumed that he was, he'd gotten it together and he was okay.
Yeah.
And then we had been running for maybe 2 kilometers and someone ran past us. One of the aid people ran past us and we're like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, he's so-and-so, he's lost it. He's gone. He's gone." We're like, "Oh no, well, that's no good." And then we ended up passing them and they were having the most in-depth conversation about magnets. And this guy's like really animated talking about magnets, and Reggie and I just look at each other, "Oh man, this guy has been out of it for what must have been at least 12 hours by now." And it was interesting because I was, I wanted to see like what this guy's credentials were, like whether this was like someone like us who wasn't really a runner and had just like bitten off too much kind of thing. This guy's has run 10 200 milers and 100 100 milers. It's from the US. He's like a professional ultra runner.
Oh, wow.
And he's come over and is just snapped on the Bibbulmun track. But yeah, Delirious West. That's
sleep deprivation can get anyone. I think. Hey, that's
well, I think also if you're not from Australia and specifically like Perth is very hot, and it was a lot hotter than they thought it was going to be. So the sleep deprivation, throw in some heat exhaustion, and then just a lot of kilometers, and that'll do wonders for your mind.
It's a good cocktail for your brain.
Yeah.
And who knows when he flew in? Maybe he might be jet lagged already and sort of struggling with sleep.
Yeah. Plus, Northcliffe, where it starts, is a 4.5 hour drive from Perth. So there's a bit of a commute to get there, and then
wow. Yeah. Reggie, what's being your first long endurance event?
And last, right?
Well, that was going to be part of my question. Sorry. What's your biggest takeaway from the whole experience? And are you glad you did it? If so, what would you recommend? And are you going to do any more?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway was that night I talked about, definitely. Just the realizing what the body is truly capable of. And if you really want it bad, there's something in there where you can just turn off the pain, and maybe temporarily, I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I'll take that with me. I don't know if you've heard of Goggins, and he talks about the cookie jar. So that's kind of a part of it for me. Like, got a big cookie to put in the jar that I can come back to if I need it in the future. So that's a massive one for me. Not planning any runs in the near future.
Obviously, got to fix your leg first.
Yeah, there's a marathon, ultramarathon called the Jungle Ultra in the Amazon. That's something that I've see him perk up in. Something that I've been looking at for a few years now. It's just very, very expensive. But it's about 250, 260 Ks. But yeah, you follow the Amazon down through Peru. But it's got that whole, I love nature. I love being in nature. And it's just swamps, river crossings. And you can see like jaguars. There's all monkeys, like everything you'd expect to see in the Amazon. So that would be another level of a challenge, I reckon. That's something that maybe we'll look forward to in the future.
What does your partner say about this stuff, Giselle?
Yeah, she just thinks I'm crazy. Absolutely crazy.
She wouldn't be a very big fan of me.
Well, I don't think Elias will be a big fan of Reggie now that he's mentioned this race.
This is true, yeah.
Might get in trouble there.
Aaron was talking about maybe doing a swim, but we're both as bad as each other at swimming. I'm actually even worse. So it'd be a challenge.
I'll mention that to Aaron as well. I want to do a big swim.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we have to do something together.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay, I got to ask as well, what did you guys eat as soon as you came into Albany? Or what was your first decent meal?
Perth is weird because, here you expect that there's going to be like McDonald's and stuff like between a regional place and the city.
Yeah.
Whereas that wasn't the case coming back to Perth at all. So we basically had the worst hot chips you could ever imagine from a service station. But my dad was terrific, and he actually dropped us to Northcliffe at the beginning of the race and then came down and picked us up from Albany and drove us back to Perth. And my mum had a marvellous banquet set up for us when we got home. So we stuffed our faces.
Full rice, all different salads, veggies, potatoes, everything.
That must have tasted amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. It was really good.
Yeah. So the parents well and truly hooked us up, which was... we were very grateful for.
Yeah.
Aaron's mum got me a little bowl of salt water under the table. I had my little feet in the little salt water and the Epsom salts and antibacterial stuff. Yeah, they looked after us.
What's the state of your feet now? Like about a week afterwards, less than a week since you guys finished. Have they healed up or?
Yeah, they're healing up. There's no open wounds now, but the toes are pretty purple still, and
but they're all dried up properly.
Yeah.
You're struggling to feel your toes, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've got about half feeling back in all my toes now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a bit worried because I worked a week and then it was Friday and a doctor came into 45 and he was looking at my calf, and it's something Giselle had already mentioned, and the swelling on my calf had gone up. That was huge. And he was really worried about being a potential like DVT or something.
Yeah.
Especially
because you were flying as well, right?
Because of the flying as well. Yeah. So I went straight to hospital Friday afternoon and then they found the calf tear. But so still very numb down there and a lot of swelling.
How long's the recovery for the calf tear?
Potentially 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
I've got to get another scan in 4 weeks to see if it's healing back. I could potentially need surgery, but fingers crossed I don't.
So you're in the moon booth for at least 6 to 8 minimum, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
How many weeks for the testicle chafe injury?
It's actually feeling way better. I think it was actually all help to that snake bandage. That's Aaron's fantastic idea. It's a shame I didn't ask him about it until for 2 days.
Yeah. I'm like a MacGyver. If you've got any testicle injuries, just as long as I've got a snake bandage handy, I'll sort you out.
Yeah. You should make a YouTube video on how to do this and get massive views, I'm sure.
Well, to be fair, I didn't want to be there for the application of the idea, but I was happy to throw it out, run 100 meters up the track, and then wait to hear the results.
Yeah. So that was good. As long as it helped, that was the most important part.
100%. Yeah.
All right, guys, the Amazon race sounds incredible. So obviously, if that happens, we're going to get you back on after that. But for now, let's maybe go for a couple of swims in the summer. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, guys.